Buhari has mortgaged Nigerians' future, says a Don. Wow. So Buhari's government has mortgaged Nigerians' future in so many ways. And let's just go through a highlight of those things and what has to be done differently to redeem Nigeria from this international mortgage. Social critic and professor of philosophy Protus Uzoma on Thursday asked Nigerians to ensure that they utilize the opportunity of 2023 general election to take back their country from institutionalized corruption and bad governance. Yes, the Dawn at a press conference in Owerri, Imo State, said that the president, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, had mortgaged the future of the country through borrowing from Western nations. Not only Western nations, even Asian countries, even Europe countries. Uzoma enjoined Nigerians to ensure they vote for the right person as president, who would think out of the modalities to repay all the loans that this government has taken. He said that Peter Obi of the Labour Party possessed the requisite qualities needed to reorganize the country. Unfortunately, they are meting out violence against the Labour Party and against Peter Obi. The Don said that he was afraid the Western people would, whom he said had recolonized Africa, may sabotage Obi's ambition. He said the times we are in now is crucial in Nigeria's history. This period has become epic. Nigerians have been in a cave for a long time. It is caused by global politics. The West has colonized us for a long period of time. They have now recolonized Africa. Nigeria is not an industrialized nation yet. There is an institutional slavery in Nigeria caused by the West. The West doesn't want Africa to grow. They want to keep impoverishing Africa the more. All right? They put leaders that they want to be ruling us here in Africa. They have put Nigeria in a state of socioeconomic quagmire. The West gives Africa loans to impoverish Africa the more. Peter Obi is today seen as Moses. He is the Messiah, but I am afraid the obedient movement may be opposed by the West. But there is time for everything. This is the time to liberate Nigeria. It is not about ethnicity nor religious background, but the qualities of the candidates in the race must be considered. We have three major candidates. One is seen as a Messiah. Among the three Nigerians should choose wisely. A man who has played a role in impoverishing you will make sure nothing works if elected as the president. We have tested Atiku, Tinubu, and Obi, so Nigerians should vote for the best. All right? The popularity of Obi shows that he is the best. It is not because he is Igbo, but because of his capacity. Obi has wider reception. I feel this is the time for Nigerians to recover from institutionalized corruption. Obi has the magic wand to rearrange Nigeria. My fear still remains. The West will make sure Africa doesn't recover from political slavery. Oh boy. The West will frustrate obedient movement. They may not allow it. Nigeria has endeared global political skirmishes, and this is the time to say no to Western political slavery of Nigeria. INEC should insist on free and fair election. Economic power is the bedrock to political freedom. Nigeria needs to liberate itself from global political slavery by electing a leader like Obi as the next president. Obi's plan to move Nigeria from consumption to production is excellent. You can't talk about production without industrialization. Buhari has mortgaged the future of Nigeria. The next president must work out modalities to pay off the monies we owe foreign nations. Peter Obi is my personal candidate. We have had leaders who didn't convince us, convince us about their ideologies. I am educated enough to know how to differentiate between good and bad. Let us drift and change things. It is time to liberate Nigeria irrespective of political party affiliations. Wow, this is a very good write-up from this university don, a professor of philosophy, Protus Uzoma, all right, trying to let us know that Nigeria has been mortgaged by Buhari's government. We know he has taken loans everywhere. Sometimes International Monetary Fund, United Nations, the World Bank, they will come and give up fake economic statistics about Nigeria, and the reason they need to give us more loans so that we will remain indebted to both World Bank and IMF forever. China has given us loans that we cannot pay back. Right now, they have started doing what they do to other West Africa, what they did to other West African countries. Once they cannot pay, what they will do is to find a way to institutionalize their residency in your country and take over those assets that they have constructed for you that you are not able to pay back. All right, and they start by doing their security. Now they have started doing their own police stations. Some have been discovered. Some more secret China police stations are still being discovered in some parts of Nigeria, especially in Lagos and Edo State. All right. So at the end of the day, you see that what China is doing is recolonizing Africa. They are fighting now. Both the Europeans and the Western world and the Asians are fighting to parcel out Africa afresh, different from what they did in the 1920s, 18th, and 19th centuries. All right. So I don't know. It is quite unfortunate that the Western world also like the state of Africa, because that is how they're going to tap our resources, both financial, material, and human resources. They're going to tap it. As long as there's no peace in Africa, there's no unity in Africa, that is where they will be feeding from. And that is why they don't like when there's stability in any country in Africa. That was how Gaddafi was killed, because Gaddafi's own was almost becoming very strong and trying to move the saving Libya's money in World Bank to turn them to NFTs, non-funded tokens, and turning them to gold so that it will be stored in precious metals. Unfortunately, it was taken out. All right. So the same way Jonathan refused to sign same-sex marriage, and both the Americans and the UK, the British, they hated Jonathan. I'm sure that was how they made Jonathan to leave office, because they said they were not going to give Nigerian loan again if Jonathan refused to sign the same-sex marriage. But he didn't sign it. And thank God, for the first time, the Nigerian Senate, the House of Rep, and the government executives, they came together for once to say no. And that is why it's not been signed here in Africa. In Nigeria. So I don't know. Like now we are saying Nigeria, Buhari had turned Nigeria to something else. Now there's brain drain. Nigerian talents are running to UK, US, and Canada. And they are happy with that. Even though they will still make us second-class citizens there, people are still running. And that's what they want, because their people don't go to school. Their people don't want to work. All right. So what this writer is saying, this professor Uzoma is saying, is because now that we have somebody like Peter Obi, Tinubu, and Atiku are the strongest contenders for the 2023 election, Peter Obi is coming out the best, clean. The Western world will not like somebody like Peter Obi to rule Nigeria, because he will stabilize Nigeria. And once he stabilizes Nigeria, it means that all the resources that get to Nigeria will stop. You understand me? So I will not be surprised tomorrow when the British come out and say they're supporting Tinubu or Atiku. Or when the Americans will come out tomorrow and say they're supporting Tinubu or Atiku. They will come in a subtle manner, as if Nigeria is a sovereign nation. They don't have to interfere with our issues. But then on the background, they'll be sponsoring some political moves, all right, that will change the narratives. And if you don't look clearly, you will not see it. So we need to watch out very well. Nigerians, it is time to take back your country from the hands of all these political slave masters, all right, in Nigeria, and the global political slave masters as well, like the Western world, the likes of the Western nations, and the Asian country now, with China. China is doing very well in Nigeria. So we really need to do what we have to do to take back Nigeria from them by voting the right person that we know that will change the narrative for Nigeria. And probably because like Professor P.L.O. Lumumba, that is it Kenya or Ugandan professor? Yes, Uganda, right? That said the day Nigeria will regain traction in politics and in governance, that is the day Africa will have the true independence and freedom from the Western world. And so the whole world knows that the key for African freedom and success is in Nigeria. And that is why they will do everything to make sure Nigeria is not stable. Because the day Nigeria stabilizes, the whole Africa will stabilize. And they don't want that to happen. And unfortunately, our own politicians too, who are very, very selfish and very wicked, will not look inward and see how they can stabilize Nigeria. They would rather be stealing our money and go and keep them in the UK, US, and Canadian banks and Chinese banks. All right? Money that if they die, the money is lost. They can't get it back. Up to today, look at when Abacha died. Up to today, we are still looking to get Abacha's loot. How can that be, both from US and from UK? What about other politicians that have died that we don't know how much money they have left in those countries? It is easy to take this money to those countries legally or illegally. But come and take it out. Then you know that they were watching you. They knew where you brought it. So it's time to do something very well for Nigeria this time around. Everybody should be ready to vote the right person. And let's see how we can come together to support who we know that will put Nigeria on the right pedestal for success and for development. So thank you for listening, and let's have your comment as well.